Thank you so much. I am so incredibly excited to be here. Like, oh, it's like for days. Just been really, really excited. We also have the fabulous Kim Kamatas helping us. I'm here also from Partners in Sex Education. We also have the fabulous Jane Detweiler, who also from Partners in Sex Education, and she is passing out raffle tickets. So if you didn't get a raffle ticket, get her attention or go over and talk to her. Awesome. Oh, we got a whole section here with the raffle going on. Well, that's fantastic. So anyway, thank you so much. I also want to say, so we do Partners in Sex Ed. We teach youth in the Boston area. We're also doing a local conference on April 11th. I know that Erin, who did Adaptable and Accurate, gave her workshop a test drive at our little conference before she played with the big dogs here. So it's a great place to get your feet wet in conference presenting. And you can check that out on our website at Partners in Sex Education. Please check the Twitter handles, Partners in Sex Ed, and also our hashtag Sex Mythbusters. So who's heard or is familiar with the show Mythbusters? Yes, awesome. So what we're basically doing is we're doing sex myths sort of in the style of Mythbusters. So what that means is all of the things that we're going to address can be confirmed as true, can be plausible, or can be busted, right? So who was here at the workshop? We did a Sex Mythbusters workshop last year. Okay, awesome. You guys, so no spoilers from you all, right? Last year we had, and I'm just going to tell you a lot of the myths we're going to do are very similar to last year. One thing that we did last year is we did some research into green M&Ms, right? Whether green M&Ms, in fact, make you horny. The data was incredibly inconclusive, I will say. Thank you for participating last year. We also did this workshop in the Bronx at the Bronx Teens Connection with Meredith, who is also amazing. Bronx Teen Connection was fabulous. And we tried to do the same thing. So we were like, okay, so who's heard anything about green M&Ms? And they all sat there and looked at us blankly, right? And they were like, well, we know yellow Skittles are supposed to, like, different people had different versions of a yellow Skittle. Who's heard of a yellow Skittle thing? Right? So they said yellow Skittles were supposed to either cure, cause, or test for STIs, depending on, you know, whatever. Right? I don't know. No, yeah, I don't know. You're going to have to ask them. But what it told me, you know, so what was the difference? Why did I get blank stares? So almost all the participants in this workshop were under 30 years old people of color from New York City. And we are old white people from Boston. So we're rooted in, like, sex myths are very much rooted in culture and subculture. And, you know, so you really have to be attentive to that. So what's our culture here is sex education. Right? And so that's sort of what we have in common. And so what we primarily want to do is address a lot of the things that we say. Like, what are the things that we say over and over again that may or may not have been researched? Or, you know, we tend to do, we're involved in the same thing. For the same reason that everyone tells myths and legends because we love to tell stories. Sex educators really love to tell stories, and so we're just as subject to them as our kids. So I'm not going to, you know, tell you about all the things you already know. I'm going to hopefully address some of the things that we talk about all the time. Do you want to say something about on being an expert?
Very, very quickly. So if you know the show Mythbusters, you know that at the very beginning, Adam and Jamie come out and they say, or interspersed, they say, please don't try this at home. We're what you call experts. Well, we're not really what you call experts, and so we encourage you to try this at home. We encourage people to take these things. That's part of the point of what we're doing, and I was really gratified for two reasons. First, I was walking through the lobby, and somebody stopped me and said, oh, you did Mythbusters last year. She was from Augusta, Maine, and she said, yeah, we do an annual conference in Augusta, and we went out and bought lab coats, and we did Mythbusters for the people in Augusta, Maine. And she said it was great because everybody came because it was fun, it was funny, it was interactive. And so what I really appreciated, one of the many things I appreciated about Dr. Ruth was her saying, educate with humor, you know, because that I think is vital here. So, like I say, we are not really what you'd call experts in this area, but please put this to the test.
So some of this stuff is going to be, when we'll talk about each one, some things are reproducible in the classroom. Some things, and you'll see why, are clearly not reproducible in the classroom. You do not want to do, you know, you can try this at your agency, but probably not in class. So we'll talk about that. So a little warning, couple of warnings. One is that this is, we are trying to do it in humor. This is going to occasionally be loud, often ridiculous, and hopefully not too outrageous. But if it is, you know, for whatever reason, you need to step out away from the loudness, the ridiculousness, or anything that may tweak you, you can definitely do that. A big thing I want to say about a warning also is that we are going to blow stuff up. No explosives, but you know, we may be sending some latex shrapnel into the crowd, and I just want to say, so here's a trigger, right? If you are allergic to latex, this is a thing to consider. So at this point, I'm going to give everyone who is allergic to latex an opportunity to stand up, introduce yourself to your neighbors and your table mates, and say, I am allergic to latex. Okay, so consider this. We do not want to touch any latex on this person. And my next question was going to be, is anyone severely allergic to latex? Because I've certainly been in classrooms where I can't bring in a rubber band or like anything because the airborne latex is so bad. And if you are that allergic to latex, you might want to consider standing near the door with an EpiPen ready. But if it's only a little bit, then that'd be okay. All right, so the first thing, okay, he's keeping me moving, we don't have a lot of time. Okay, so the first thing is, so who has heard, this is one of the things that we consider things that adults say. I've dragged into lots of principals and administrators' office to hear, oh, kids are doing this, kids these days. Who's heard of vodka tampons? Right, all the time. I'm like, well, you know, kids, they're taking vodka and they're soaking a tampon in it and then they're trying to get drunk that way because why? Why did they say kids do this? So you can't smell alcohol on the breath. So actually, your lungs process alcohol out of the bloodstream through the lungs no matter what orifice it went in. Just FYI, so that's actually not going to work. First of all, there's a lot of reasons that I will tell you that this is not going to go that well, but I want you to figure it out for yourself. So this is going to be a table experiment, and now you get to open, do not open until X Mythbusters at your table. And inside, you will find some tampons. You will also find a bottle of vodka. It's not actually vodka. Yes, I went to the liquor store, bought 30 bottles of vodka, dumped it out, and replaced it with water because I am not trying to send you home smelling like vodka. You're welcome. Okay, so you have a Dixie cup, you have fake vodka, you have a tampon. What I want you to try to do is see if you can get, that's one nip of vodka, it's 50 milliliters. See if you can get that into a tampon. Go. You may have plastic applicator and or cardboard applicator. Try a comparison. You may have different sizes.
While you're doing this, I want to explain, keep doing what you're doing. I want to explain one of the reasons I did this was that there was this myth of eyeballing also with vodka. The rumor was that kids these days are dripping vodka into their eye to get drunk faster because one of the biology majors suggested that it's closer to the brain, so you'd get drunk faster, right? So I just did a little bit of research on this and discovered that 1 ounce of vodka is 1,500 drops. That will hurt for a long time, and it will only get you one ounce of vodka in there. So it sounded ludicrous when I looked at it, just like this myth sounds ludicrous on its face.
So once you get your tampon as soaked with fake vodka as you possibly can. Another thing that you can do is try to see what that might work if you tried to push it into a small space. You can make a small space with your fist and then try to put the tampon in. What's going to happen? Go ahead. Now, some people have taken it out of the applicator, and some people have left it in the applicator. This is why I gave you multiple tampons. You can try to see what's going to work here.
Same concept. It winds up being, if you take it in the applicator and put it in, it presses against the applicator and you can't get it out. Yeah, and that would hurt.
Okay, does anyone want to tell me how's it going? Brian, if anyone wants a mic, does anyone want to tell me what your data is?
Okay, everybody a little bit quieter. Does anybody want to explain how it's going? Anybody have any success?
Over here. Oh.
So we didn't get a ton in there, but we were able to pour the water in through the back of the tampon so it wouldn't come out too much, and we could get it into a small hole. So.
Anyone else want to share how it went?
Okay, so they used about a quarter of the nip, and they got about a quarter of the nip into the tampon. Any other ideas about how this would go or data?
Hi. Sorry, I haven't done it here, but I've done it before. And what me and my friends did at that point was we pushed it out about a half an inch, filled it up as much as it would absorb. It wouldn't absorb, an entire 2 shots, and then once it was full, just pulled it back so that you can applicate it. So.
But when you pull it back in, does any of the vodka that's there leak out?
So a super-sized tampon will hold 15 milliliters of water at capacity, which means you dip it in the water, and that's how much absolutely at capacity it will hold is 15. It's 12 to 15. Which is a lot less than, a lot less than the 50 in one nip, right? So you won't be able to get that much actually vodka or fake vodka in there. So what happens then? What happens, do you think, if somebody tries to insert it? Do you have some?
Our question was, what if we started to think, what if you insert the tampon and then somehow get the vodka into the tampon once it's in?
Right. So if a person were to try this, so when everybody says, first of all, you have to do a yoga headstand, mad respect, and then you have to insert a funnel.
Or you could use a baster, as Mary Jo suggests.
Or a baster. Wow. Creative minds used for evil, clearly. So what would happen if you tried it with a tampon? I can almost guarantee that if someone actually tried this in an attempt to get drunk, it would be a one-time thing. Because when you fill the tampon, then you try to insert, you'll get very little in it, even at capacity. You try to insert it, most of it would squeegee out. And how would that feel? It burns like crazy. I mean, for science. So, and the amount you can get in is so negligible. Yes, headstands, everything.
So you were just wondering about if you skip the tampon and you're just douching with vodka, if that would actually help.
Vodka douche. Do not try this at home, kids. So there are ways that one could potentially get it in. My point is, vodka tampon, not a real thing. Right. If somebody, now this is actually, I'm going to say, a real thing, wildly not recommended. If you put alcohol in rectally, it is extremely dangerous. Yes, it will get you drunk. It will go directly into the bloodstream, and people do die doing this. So yes, vodka tampon, not a real thing. Vodka enema, real thing, never do this.
Real thing, deadly. Seriously,
yeah, very
deadly.
dangerous, very dangerous.
Okay, next.
Anyway, moving on. So, the next one we're going to say is what about latex? What kind of lubricant?
No, permeability.
Oh, yay, even better. We have a video for you guys. So, the next one is about permeability of various substances. We're always wondering about what barriers will and will not block viruses, and I think that the video explains itself. So if you want to run it, that would be awesome. Hi, I'm Megara.
And I'm Brian Flaherty.
And we're from Partners in Sex Education, and today we're doing Sex Mythbusters.
So what myth are we testing today?
Well, if you want to have safer oral sex on a vulva, what can you use?
You could use a dental dam.
And if you don't happen to have a dental dam, what could you use instead?
You could use plastic wrap.
And what does everyone say about the kind of plastic wrap you can use?
That you must never, never use microwavable plastic wrap.
Why not?
Because it's got micropores.
So, here's the problem. You cannot get non-microwavable plastic wrap. Or when I went to the grocery store, out of the hundreds of boxes of plastic wrap, every single one of them was microwave safe.
What's an unprepared oral sex aficionado to do?
Well, as it turns out, I called the companies. I called Cling Wrap, I called Stretch Tight, I called customer service, and I had some interesting and awkward conversations with the people on the phone in which they explained to me that what makes a plastic wrap microwavable is that it doesn't melt at boiling temperature so that the steam doesn't melt it. Not that it actually has any pores or holes in it.
But that explanation is not going to satisfy us, is it?
Of course not.
Let's put it to the test.
Well, how does the FDA test dental dams and condoms for permeability?
Well, what the FDA does is they take a condom and they fill it with a solution with a virus the size of the smallest sexually transmitted virus. They take that and they put it into another solution and they test that other solution, and if any of the first virus has come through, then the condom fails the test.
So how big are the viruses exactly?
Well, a sperm cell, which is way bigger than bacteria or viruses, is about 5,000 nanometers in diameter. Bacteria are larger than viruses, and so chlamydia, a sexually transmitted bacteria, is 300 nanometers in diameter. The largest sexually transmitted virus is herpes, which is 150 nanometers in diameter, and the smallest sexually transmitted virus, the size that the FDA uses for their testing, is hepatitis B, which is 42 nanometers in diameter. So ideally, we would use a virus or a particle 42 nanometers in diameter.
Okay, since we don't have that, let's think about this. Water is a mere 0.3 nanometers. And so if water doesn't pass through our plastic wrap, then a virus can't pass through.
Well, how would we know?
Well, if we dye the water, dyed water is a little bigger. Food coloring is about 10 nanometers, which is still way smaller than the smallest virus. So if we make a little pocket with a plastic wrap and we put dyed water in it and we put in another water, if no dye passes through, we know it's impermeable to viruses.
Okay, but as controls, I would like to use something that we anticipate will prevent the dye from going through. And so we could use a latex condom. And as a control, we should use something that we anticipate will fail the test.
You just happen to have condoms in all your pockets.
I'm a sex researcher. Of course I've got condoms in all my pockets. Anyhow, we want to test a lambskin condom, which we anticipate will fail.
So why do we think the lambskin condom will fail?
Well, if you read the label of a lambskin condom, it says all over it that this must never be used for prevention of STIs because it's got micropores.
Okay, so the FDA has tested it, but are we going to take the FDA's word for it?
Heck no! Let's put this to the test too.
So how did that go?
Well, as expected, the lambskin condom failed the permeability test.
Both the latex condom and the plastic wrap passed.
So, lambskin condoms have tiny pores? Confirmed.
Plastic wrap has tiny pores? Busted.
Definitively busted.
So this video will be linked on our website. So if you want to use it, or watch it, or show it to your friends, I don't know. It is on the website at Partners in Sex Education. So this is something that is definitely reproducible in your class. Okay, so you can put a latex condom, you can put a lambskin condom, which are so nasty. Warning, they smell horrible. You can also do the plastic wrap. Be careful when you do the plastic wrap because it's really easy to mess up your data because the water wicks out, so you have to make sure there's a really good seal. And if you mess up your data, then it's showing the plastic wrap doesn't work. If you do it, I would recommend, because this was 5 hours time lapse. So yeah, so if you want to get it done a lot faster, use a lot of food coloring. Then you'll get it within a 45-hour class.
Yeah, you can actually get very visible results in a 45-minute class if you use a lambskin condom.
Without
it's
having
very
to do
cool.
time lapse. So that's a fun thing to do. Yes? I guess you could. That's a lot of food coloring. We used a fair amount of food coloring. You can basically dump it, water, but then an entire little bottle of food coloring, and then you get a pretty lovely result through the lambskin, which definitely permeable. So, in case it wasn't obvious, the first experiment, vodka tampons, that was for your benefit. I would never do this in a classroom, right? Because what are you trying? Are you trying to teach kids like how to use a vodka? That's just a horrible idea. So just in case it's not obvious, that was for you. Please do not do this with youth, right? But this one is reproducible. And the next one is also reproducible with youth. So what kind of lubricant can you use on a latex condom? Water-based. Water-based. Awesome. Yay, Astroglide. Thank you so much for sponsoring that very slippery dance. We are, in fact, going to be using Astroglide in our experiments. Thanks, Astroglide. Yeah. So what can you not use? Oil-based, which includes what? Oh. Okay. So you will, yes. Yes, thank you so much. This is a really important thing to know. A latex condom is typically, unless it says otherwise, it is lubricated with a silicone lube. We were talking also to the Astroglide rep, and she said she was getting a lot of questions when she was passing out lube about latex and silicone. So there's apparently an additional myth that you can't use silicone lubricant with a latex condom. You absolutely can. That's what it's lubricated with. That's what it's for. And for that reason, we decided to add that. We were only going to use water-based lube, baby oil, Vaseline, and vegetable oil, but we added a +1, which is going to be silicone lube.
So we're going to use latex. Yikes. We're going to use latex condoms. We're also going to use polyurethane condoms and polyisoprene condoms to see, because we can sort of anticipate what's going to happen with latex, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with polyurethane, polyisoprene.
All right, so can we get our volunteers from this table? We're going to get we need 5 volunteers. I understood you guys were prearranged. And okay, so you guys are all going to need lab coats and safety goggles. Because 1, you look cooler when you're wearing a lab coat and safety goggles. And 2, if we have a condom blow covered in an oil or a substance, it's going to spatter. I'm hoping our volunteers were warned of this. Our next round of volunteers, please be aware that this particular experiment can actually spatter. Great one for use in a classroom. Highly recommend the safety gear. All right. So all of our participants get a condom, okay? And I want you to blow it up into a balloon. Yes, this is also a great skill for educators and students alike, is making condom balloons. Always good. Destigmatizes condoms beautifully. Make it into a good balloon. We are also going to get some crowns. Here. Anyone, 5. So, anybody?
And they've got to be, wait a minute, can we have an example? Size example?
Big.
Big, big.
All right, good.
Okay. Size. Big. Big. Do we want to do this up on stage, or do we want to do it over here? Stage. You gotta up on stage. Yeah.
What we're going to do is we're going to have these guys put some of their lubricant on it. You can then just put it down on the ground. That's fine, because if you just put the lube on, but sometimes people will say, oh, if you just put the lube on, it'll explode immediately. It won't. You actually need to subject it to some friction. All right, so if you can apply your lubricant to the balloon, go ahead and apply your lubricant judiciously to the balloon. And
oh, it's all lube. Yay!
All right, start rubbing. All right, let's go. Start rubbing. Wow, I'm a little worried about vegetable oil there.
Yeah,
give it. Worried about that.
You got to put a little bit of enthusiasm into that friction.
I would hold on to it by the handle and rub with another hand. Wow. Yeah, you can clamp it under your elbow if you need to hold it still.
Yay! Woo!
Keep going, go, go, go! So, baby oil and Vaseline are clear losers with latex. Or winners. Depends.
Yay!
All right, awesome. So far, all 3 of our oil-based broke.
Okay.
Distribute wipes. Okay, thank you, fabulous volunteers. Can we get a hand for them? They get some extra raffle tickets. By the way, anyone who did not get a raffle ticket, you'll want to get the attention of Jane here. These guys get extra raffle tickets for volunteering. So I will tell you that the silicone and the water-based lube could do that all day. It's not going to break all day. That's sort of the point of lubricant. All right, so what did we find out? What's our data? Baby oil and Vaseline were the first to go. Which went first? Vaseline. I will say usually baby oil goes first, but Al was really subjecting it to some vigorous friction. You go. So we would say baby oil, Vaseline are first. Vegetable oil never goes as quickly, but it's still definitely bad. The other two are great. Some people said coconut oil is a thing that people may use. Put it to the test, right? That would be good.
It doesn't work well. I do that. I do hand lotion and lip gloss.
Lip gloss. Huh.
Thank you.
I thought lip gloss.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry.
Thanks, babe.
All right. So great. Put it to the test. You can definitely do this. So what do we think about other condom materials? What about polyisoprene, which are what like the skin and the non-latex condoms are, or polyurethane? What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, okay. Got it.
Supposedly, I haven't myth-busted it, but polyurethane is supposed to be
Tickets for these
okay
guys.
with coconut oil and vegetable oil, but the polyisoprene, thank you, is not supposed to be okay with veggie and coconut oils.
Awesome. All right, let us put it to the test. Could we get our other 10 volunteers to get some lab coats and some goggles? So polyisoprene is a synthetic latex. It is okay for people with latex allergies, but it is a synthetic latex, so it will have some similar properties, apparently. Everybody's ready with the balloons? Are you ready with your substances? For another one.
Polyisoprene?
Okay, did that one have a balloon
Megara?
on it already?
Megara.
No, that's just, wow. All right, so you can put your lubricant on it. Start your engines.
Uh-oh.
I should have warned you to be judicious with the baby oil. Wow, baby oil went first.
Baby oil.
That was even faster than the latex. Oh, veggie oil went second.
Baby oil first, veggie second.
Oh, yes.
I know.
Vaseline.
Another upset.
We could keep going with this, but again, I will tell you, silicone and Astroglide all day.
Energize.
Thank you to our second round of volunteers. You guys can keep the lab coats and the goggles and the crowns if you want. Yes? Yeah. All right. Are you ready? Group number 3. The polyurethane do not make very satisfying balloons because it's not that stretchy. The polyisoprene makes a great balloon. Okay, so the second one was polyisoprene. That's the material that a skin, SKYN condom is made out of, or the one that are called non-latex. So this one looks like this, or the SKYN. That was the last one. This is polyurethane, which is the Supra condom. Okay, are you ready? Yes. All right, go. Yeah. Yes, they are serious. Yes.
Get it, baby oil.
Get it, go for it.
You ready with double back? Veggie oil. Interesting. Reapply lube whenever necessary. I tend to think that veggie oil was a fluke. I do admire how vigorously he was putting that condom to the stress test. But I think at this point, we may be able to say that polyurethane is okay with oil. Okay with oil. So, latex, definitely not okay with oil. That myth is confirmed. You cannot use latex with oil. You also cannot use synthetic latex, polyisoprene with oil. That is also confirmed. Thank you to our third round of volunteers.
Do you throw them away?
What?
Do you throw them away after?
No, absolutely not.
And then keep them?
But, no, we don't.
Yeah, you guys can help them out with the baby wipes. That'd be awesome. Okay.
Hold on. Yes. Question. We have a question.
Have you guys done this study with virgin coconut oil?
No, that's a great suggestion. Somebody over here also suggested that a lot of people are using coconut oil for sex, and that would be great. So excellent continuation of the experiment. Take it next year. Take it to your groups, your agencies, and try it, especially if your populations are using coconut oil, definitely put that to the test. My prediction is being a vegetable oil, it will also break.
Okay.
That is my prediction. But put it to the test. All right. So, what is double bagging? Does anyone want to define that for me? Double bagging.
If I'm not mistaken, it's wearing 2 condoms at the same time.
Yeah, so double bagging. Wearing 2 condoms at the same time. What can you tell me about wearing 2 condoms at the same time? People got the thumbs down. And because, what did somebody say? More friction between the condoms. And so what's going to happen? Okay, how do you know that? Right, so somebody said limit sensation. So somebody told you, somebody told me, we all tell each other that one. Double bagging is worse, and my students say the same. Double bagging is worse than wearing 1 condom. Now, somebody pointed out it reduces the friction. Basically, when I was in high school a long, long time ago, and HIV was brand new, and they were recommending that people use 2 condoms to be extra safe, and then at a certain point they realized you didn't get that much more safety benefit from that in terms of like how much the sensation would cut down. It's really not that much better. So we stopped advising that people would wear 2 condoms. But I think a lot of us kind of went overboard and was like, it is the worst thing you could ever do. So let's put that to the test. How are we going to test the friction on 2 condoms? Woody. Yeah, Woody and what? So we really want to subject it to an excessive amount of friction. So we got a sawzall. Because the sawzall goes at how many?
It goes up to 3,000 reps per minute.
3,000 beats a minute. So we are going to put and then we got actually a sculptor to put to make like something to put the condom on that. So we're going to stress test it like that. Okay, so we are not trying to simulate sex here. We are trying to simulate this kind of stress that a condom would be under times about a zillion. Okay, so we're gonna stress test it this way. We're gonna try 2 condoms, and we're gonna see how it goes, see if it breaks. Yes, we did have these made to do what we thought would be the kind of stress a condom would have to undergo in an extreme condition. My recommendation to the volunteers, it goes up to 3,000 beats a minute. I would actually do it only gently. Pull it gently. Ready? Gently. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Grill, baby, grill.
In case I didn't have to say this, this is not something you would reproduce in a classroom. In case it's not incredibly obvious, please never do this. They're holding a tanga. They're stress testing a double condom. Yes. All right. So what do we got? Oh, so one thing, the tanga does not, as it turns out, stand up to the kind of stress. How about the condom? Yes, power tools are challenging. So how's the condom? We pull it off. We've decided the tanga is just not, it's not going to work at all. However, do you guys want to?
Oh, wow.
Sure. Pull one off and then see if it's, but pull them off gently because if you get your fingernails in it, obviously it's going to break. Make a note of it. Oh, if you guys want to put the power tools down in the back, that'd be awesome. How are we doing? We got one balloon. You can just put this, yeah, that's great. So far we have the amount of stress that our tanga did not handle at all, but that the condom is totally fine. Now this, I understand that our scientific rigor is not perfect. I completely get that. We're doing popular science, and we are putting it to the test as much as possible in a somewhat unscientific way. There is also research on this. So as it turns out, according to the few studies that have studied this, double bagging, that is using 2 condoms, is slightly more safe than using 1, but not enough to necessarily justify the sensation change that you would get from wearing 2. So all of the actual legitimate CDC related research says that actually there's not a lowering of effectiveness.
So the study, by the way, is it's thousands of people. I mean, it's an enormous study that was done, I think, in Thailand. I don't remember exactly, but it is on our webpage. There's a link to Sex Mythbusters, and that study is linked, and a number of other articles and 2 books on sex myths. Actually, 3 books, very good books on sex myths. Okay.
Okay, awesome. So we have one last condom-related myth before we get to our raffle, which I know everyone's probably super excited about. So we're going to do this super fast. How do you open a condom package? Carefully with your fingers. Okay. What should you not do with a condom package? Okay, so how many people have heard or have said that you should never, ever open a package of condoms with your teeth? Okay, so I'm going to ask you to be extremely honest. How many of you have, in a sexual situation, used your teeth to open the condom? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. We all do that, right? Your hands are slippery. One of them is occupied doing something else. How are you going to get that package open, right? I know how we are. Ready to go. right? The whole tear and spit thing. So it's like, I know we tell young people never ever to do that, and we do that. So right, obviously you don't want to bite the condom, right? Rip open the condom with your teeth. But, a sensible person can, we're going to put it to the test. Okay, one of you is going to be, I'll tell you, we'll prepare you. One of you is going to be opening condoms with your teeth, but we're going to reproduce a possibly not well-lit situation, and you're going to be blindfolded. One of you is going to open the condoms. The other 5 are going to make balloons out of these condoms. The first team that gets 10 balloons, after I say go, first team that gets 10 balloons is going to win. Okay? So,
remember, the balloons have to be the size of a gallon jug. They have to be good size. You can't just have a little bit of air and then let it go.
All right. So, wait. You guys can, she's going to have a blindfold. She or he is going to have a blindfold on. You guys can pass the condom to them. They have to open it, take the condom out, pass the unpackaged condom back to the teammates. The teammates are going to make balloons. All right, on your mark, get set, go. Awesome. Thank you. The rest of you teams, we have a winner. Center section. Woo! So I guess this is something you could potentially do in a classroom. I don't know whether the message is to like chew on condoms, or I really don't know. But how do we do for, I mean, the point is to have a race and to have fun, but also how do we do for how well they worked? I think that do you guys who are actually biting open the condoms, do you guys feel like you could do that without chewing on the was there breakage there? You guys said no problem. Okay. Use your judgment. I am not telling you to open a condom with your teeth. I am just telling you to consider that many people do, and we might not want to tell them it's the worst thing ever, because I'm not positive it is. All right, so I know, thank you guys. You guys have been amazing. If anyone has any questions or comments after. I know, do you want to read them? All of our info will be up on the website, including the videos. We also have a blue waffle video.